Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Miss KK and this is The Wave. It is your weekly show that looks at topics related to personal, family and business finances, and really all we are hoping is that by the time you get to the end of this series, you are really better equipped to make sound financial decisions. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for always popping by. We really appreciate your time. So this video is inspired by a question I was asked by Olivia, and she asked if I can please do a video on the importance of PAYE 5 and what people should be doing with it. This is because she recently discovered actually some people are keeping their PAYE just filed in their cabinet and they're actually not submitting their return. So I just wanted to highlight some ground rules with regards to income tax. I don't know how much you know about income tax already, but assuming you don't know anything, this is really going to be your basics. So if you are a salaried employee, your employer has a responsibility of withholding income tax from your payslip every month, and they pay that over to the receiver of revenue. So if you inspect your payslip, you'd see a line called PAYE, which stands for pay as you earn. The more you earn, the more you pay, and they hand that over to the receiver of revenue. That amount that is withheld on a monthly basis is really an estimation of what your total taxable income is going to be, and they might have over deducted maybe if you had some bonus in the middle of the year, or they might have under deducted maybe if you had unpaid leave or things like that, right? So at the end of the calendar year, which is your income tax year, which ends for individuals, it ends on the 28th or the 29th of February each year, they will calculate how much total PAYE they've paid over to the receiver of revenue, and they will give you a certificate that is now called the PAYE 5, right? So you as an individual are supposed to sign up on ITIS. Previously, you could submit your annual returns using a manual form. The Ministry of Finance would generally post form in your postal box, and then you can take that, or you can easily just collect a form from the receiver of revenue and submit your income tax return. However, 2 or 3 years ago, they implemented the online system where you have to go sign up and file your return electronically. So you actually then take that PAYE and submit it with your income tax return, because it gives evidence that you have actually paid your PAYE as you earn throughout your taxes throughout the year. So you shouldn't really be filing this PAYE anywhere. You should be submitting it on ITIS, and if you don't know how to submit it on ITIS, you must reach out to people that actually help individual file the return, or you could simply go to the Minister of Finance's office. I'm sure there will be someone that is willing to assist you to sign up on ITIS in order for you to file your return. So now that you know what you should be doing with your PAYE 5, I'd like to just remind you that you are required to submit an income tax return every single year, and that return is due on the 30th of June each year. So that means if your tax year ends in February, your employer has about 2 or 3 months for them to prepare their PAYE 5. But because most of them are using systems, they're generally available within a month or so after February, and then you have up until June to file your return. So by 30 June, you need to file your return, and if you don't file the return, you need to actually apply for an extension. Perhaps your employer hasn't given you a PAYE 5 yet, so that means you cannot, submit your tax return on time. Therefore, you need to apply for an extension. So in an event that you fail to submit your tax return on time, you are actually going to be charged penalties by NAMRA, which is now the agency that is dealing with that is replacing Inland Revenue, and that I think penalties for a late return is $100 for every day that the return is outstanding. However, that can actually work out to a lot of money, because if you take 31 days times 100, that's already 3,100 per month. But the receiver of revenue is actually running an incentive program for people to actually catch up with their ITIS submission, and if you do, make sure that you pay your capital in full. And for a lot of us that are already salaried employees, you won't really have a top up unless you obviously had things like motor vehicle allowance, where you have to prove kilometers that you actually drove for business kilometers, or perhaps you maybe had a structured housing scheme that is not working out in your favor. But for a lot of us salaried employees, you won't have a top-up payment in terms of tax. So that means all you need to do is actually go ahead and register on ITIS, submit your PAYE 5, and then apply for the penalty waiver. They'll be able to write off all those penalties that the receiver has currently levied on your account. So if you haven't done anything, kindly please check that you have registered on ITAS, and kindly please ensure that you actually are submitting your income tax return. The disadvantage of not submitting your income tax return is also the fact that if you were to retire and want to claim your pension is normally deductible throughout the period when you are working, but when you go and retire and you get a pension payout, it's actually taxable. But like I've mentioned in the video where I distinguished between taxable, tax exempt, and tax advantaged account, you are going to be hopefully charged at a lower tax bracket because you won't have any other income other than the pension payout. So it's actually going to delay your process of getting your pension payout, because they first need to make sure that your tax affairs are in order. And if you have 10 or 20 or 30 years tax returns that are not sorted out, it's really going to put you at a disadvantage. Plus, certain things that require you to get a good standing certificate with the receiver of revenue. And if you have missing returns that are not submitted, the receiver of revenue won't be able to give you, your good standing certificate, and you may lose out on a job opportunity if it's a prerequisite that you need to submit, a good standing certificate from the receiver of revenue. So I just want you to, think about it. Have you actually filed your return before? If you haven't done, can you contact a friend to help you file this return? Have you submitted your PAYE 5? And if you haven't, kindly please also action the above. And if you also haven't done any of the above and you really don't know how ITAS system work, please leave a comment below, because I can then get a friend of mine that deals with this ITAS submission on a daily basis to come and actually do a demonstration video on how ITAS works and some of the key things that you should really be looking at. So I really hope this helps you. You should not be keeping your PAYE filed elsewhere. You should be submitting them at Inland Revenue, and I'm sure that NAMRA is going to be a lot more stricter than the agency before, so you need to make sure that your house is in order with regards to your taxes to avoid any penalties and interest. This was about it from today's discussion. I hope you learned one thing or two, and if you haven't still gotten clarity around this, please, as I mentioned, don't forget to leave your comments in the discussion below. Thank you so much for always tuning in, and if you haven't done so, please remember to subscribe. We really love having you on board, and until next time, it is goodbye.